says to accept every part of yourself, the beautiful parts, the broken parts, or even the parts that you've tried to hide because maybe someone else made you feel like you weren't enough. But the relationship that you're meant for can't be built on abandoning yourself. So it says, make it your mission to accept all parts of you, the good and what you perceive to be your imperfections. Don't look for any outside validation, it's already within you. Once you realize your true beauty and potential, you will never doubt yourself again. And that is amazing. And it really does line up with what we got here. So we have the Queen of Wands with the Ace of Swords. And, you know, the Queen of Wands, she knows her worth. She isn't choosing. She isn't proving. She isn't trying to convince someone to love her. You know, she's simply standing in the truth of who she is. And, you know, this is about that moment that you stop lying to yourself. You know, maybe you've been making excuses for someone else's inconsistency. Or maybe you've been hoping that, like, if you love someone enough that they would finally become like who you need them to be. And, you know, the Ace of Swords cuts through all that. You know, it's not a truth that comes out to hurt you, but it's like to free you. You know? It's to free you. And then we have the Knight of Swords. And this is about movement. The Knight of Swords is all about movement. You know, there could be some communication coming in. There could be someone that wants to have a conversation. But, you know, someone may be rushing in with, you know, explanations or answers, or maybe it's something that they wish that they would have said sooner. You know, take this how it resonates. I'm hearing like once you get that truth with the Ace of Swords, you know, don't be frozen. The Knight of Swords reminds us that, you know, clarity is meant to change our direction. You know, it's not just meant to change our thoughts. Just because someone might be coming at you urgently doesn't mean that you have to make any rush decisions. I just want to put that out there. Then we have the Page of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles. And I think this is beautiful. You know, the Page of Cups, you know, could be an apology. It could represent, you know, someone with an open heart and a message coming through. Maybe it's someone willing to be emotionally vulnerable with you, finally. But underneath that, we have the Ace of Pentacles. And this is something that has the potential to become stable. It's a real opportunity. I'm not seeing here that this is something that is like perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. But what I'm seeing here is that you have the opportunity to build something different. You know, like real love doesn't begin with promises. It begins with honesty, with someone being sincere. It begins with consistency. It begins with something small that, you know, is cared for until it grows. But there is a real opportunity here. But, you know, it's all up to you. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Three of Swords. And, you know, I think this is the whole reason that this is coming out. You know, maybe you are looking for answers because you went through something painful, that you experienced some heartbreak. You know, maybe you have questioned your own value because of someone else's actions, or someone else's choices. You know, maybe you wondered, you know, why someone who said that they loved you could still hurt you. But what I'm noticing here is that the Three of Swords, it's not the outcome. The Page of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles is the outcome with the Page of Cups. But it's the foundation that it's growing from. But this is just an obstacle that you have to get over. You know, it's not something that you have to stay in. We see here that you're growing in confidence. Then you're moving into accepting you're moving into truth. And then there's action. And then vulnerability and a new beginning. And that's the real story. The challenge is that you've been hurt. The challenge is that you still have a wound that you're tending. But I really think that, you know, the true message here is that the relationship that you've been praying for, it doesn't begin when someone chooses you. It begins when you start valuing yourself, when you stop abandoning yourself, when you start knowing your worth. You know, that truth becomes easier to recognize. And when that happens, your decisions change. And so does the kind of love that you're willing to build. Thank you so much for being here. And if you could, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Love you, bye.